right, for everybody who may be joining us asynchronously, we are going over Padlet TA, which is short for Padlet Teaching Assistant, which enables us as professional development providers to create interactive activities on the fly, to create paper and pencil activities on the fly, that are customized to meet the needs of our teacher learners. In addition, Padlet TA can also create professional development plans and instructions. It's entirely up to you what you want to create. If you already have your own materials, you can upload a file, you can paste a YouTube link, you can add a Padlet, you can add a PDF, and Padlet Teaching Assistant will use that information to generate the activities that you need. There's also the option, if you are a Padlet user, to set up your teacher profile with your own subjects, your own standards, and then Padlet TA will provide prompts that are better aligned with the things that you ask for most of all. You do need a Padlet account to set up that teacher profile. Padlet accounts are free. You can have up to 3 Padlets or Padlet TA files. And then they also have different relatively affordable options to subscribe to Padlet if you so choose, but you can have 3 free items at a time. But the best part is that Padlet TA, will also export to an existing Padlet. It exports to Google Docs, it exports to Google Forms, it exports to Google Slides, Microsoft Word, Microsoft Excel, Kami, PDF, and if you want it to a CSV file. So even if you don't have a paid account, you can still use Padlet TA to export your creations into a different format that you can use with your learners. So the first thing that I would like you to do to experience Padlet TA from a student's point of view. So go ahead for the next 4 minutes, just play with the resource that I just shared with you, and I will also put it up on my screen. What you just experienced as a student is an interactive activity that I created in Padlet Teaching Assistant. Let me paste the URL where I can show you. This is my matching activity. And if I go to the open editor, oh, this is different between what I sent you, because what I shared with you was the play link where you got to play with it yourself. What I am showing you now is my editing link where I created it. If I click open editor, you're going to see that the prompt that I gave Padlet TA is that the audience is teacher professional development. And teachers will be able to identify and match the core components of Arizona adult education ELA standards, including elements such as college and career readiness standards, foundational, etc., What I did is I created a prompt, I created an audience, and then I told it the number of questions that I wanted when I created this particular Padlet TA. The reason why I created this particular one is because one of the things that we are doing here in Arizona is we are doing targeted professional development to our teachers about aligning their lessons with the Arizona Adult Education Standards. We've tried Padlet TA as a student, and now what I'm going to do is I am going to build an activity in Padlet TA. So I'm actually going to close out these other two activities that I shared. And right now I am just in ta.padlet.com. I have signed in with my account. That's why you see the J. And what I am going to do, prompt. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go to flashcards. And my grade level year is adult education teachers. My learning objective is going to be teachers will identify whether a listed standard is from the English language arts, math, or social studies standards for Arizona. I want 12 flashcards. I want 4 of them with an English language arts standard, with a math standard, and with a social standard. Excuse me, social studies standard. The last thing that I am going to do, because that's a lot to be asking anything, is I'm going to give it the URL where it can find the standards. So I'm going to look at the very bottom where it says add link, and I am going to paste in the link. I'm going to take out this I. And now you can see that it's saying, okay, I'll go to azed.gov, and then I click this generate button. Now, depending on the number of people who are using Padlet TA will depend on how quickly your results get back to you. So here is what it came up with. Determine the central ideas or information of a primary or secondary source. It says that that is social studies. Solve real-world problems involving the 4 operations with rational numbers. That would be math. So the first thing I need to do before I present these to any of my teachers is that, yes, I need to go through and validate them and make sure that they are accurate. The other thing that I can do before I share this with anybody, after I have determined their accuracy, is I can click preview. And if I click preview, it will give me the entire game. So because I did flashcards, all of these are going to be a flashcard activity. And then I can say, ooh, I got it right, I got it wrong. Real world problems, yes, I think that's math. Yay, I got it right. So nothing negative happens when you do that. And notice that this opened in a new tab, so I can go back to my original tab. And another thing that I can do is if something is incorrect, I can come down here to where it says request changes, and I can tell Padlet TA what was wrong, and it will fix that question. Does anyone have any questions so far? You don't have any questions so far. This is your building time. I would like you to think about an upcoming lesson in one of your classes, and I would like you to create an activity of your choice in Padlet TA and share the activity on a Padlet that I am going to give you in a few minutes. The other thing before we continue though, before I set you free to go ahead and build, is that I want to show you a couple of other options that are on the TA Padlet website. Number one, I've shown you the tools where you have these interactive activities. There are also printable activities. There are also lessons and instructions that you can create and make them your own. But in addition, if you go to the very top, you'll see where it says tools. There's also this option where you can click community. And under community, you can choose a content area, you can choose a grade level. I have found with the teachers that I am teaching to use Padlet TA that I have found that it has been very helpful to show them what grade level equivalent that they are teaching, and then pull one of those lessons and then modify it to meet the needs of their adult learners. So that has been very, very helpful for me. This has also been very helpful for a lot of them. For example, I think the other day I chose 8th grade, and then I chose social studies. And then, for example, if I'm teaching about branches of government for the civics test, if I'm teaching economy, there are other tools that are available and other resources that I can use to launch and meet the needs of my learners. The other piece that I wanted to make sure that I show you is that once you've signed up for that Padlet account and you've signed in with Padlet, you do have access to a library. And then this is my library, everything that I have saved. Now, remember that if you're just using the free account, you're only going to have access to save about 3 Padlet TAs, which is why I encourage you. For example, I created this worksheet that was on the preamble, and then I have this export button, and I can export it to all of these different formats. So the beautiful part is that you can create something in Padlet TA, and then you can export it to a different format that you could use for forever. All right, now I am 4 minutes behind, so I apologize for taking away some of your building time. I am going to give you about 10 minutes to build something, and then in about 10 minutes after you've played and explored, I am going to show you a Padlet that we in Arizona are building so that people from all over can share their Padlet TA resources that they've created. Right, we only have about 4 minutes left. Wow, time flies when you're having fun. I have just put a tiny URL into the Padlet. I'm also going to post the tiny URL and then post the actual Padlet link so that you can access it. There we go. And what this is this is a Padlet that we are going to keep going for forever, that is activities for adult education. This can be used by teachers. This can also be used by professional development specialists. If you have a Padlet TA that you have created, or if you have a Padlet that you want to share with other adult education practitioners or professional development providers, you can post it here under the different content areas. I encourage you, if you have something that you have created that you think is absolutely amazing, please feel free to go ahead and post it. Or if in the future you find something or you create something that you're like, yeah, this is definitely, I need to share this and get it out there, please post it on this. It would definitely be more than welcome. I'm going to give you about 2 minutes to finish up your exploration. And if you do want to post something, you are more than welcome to. And then we will continue closing out our breakout session.